Hey, well, it's Huck. And how are you? I'm sorry I'm kind of laid back here. You might notice I'm not sitting on the couch. I've got another chair. So I moved the couch over against another wall, and I'm using this chair. It's a reclining chair. It's not a reclining rocker, and it doesn't have any of those fancy things, you know, uh, like heat or massage or something. Oh, Huck doesn't have any of that kind of stuff. But um, at any rate, so I'm sitting here watching the Cleveland Guardians playing the Seattle Mariners tonight before old Huck hits the sack. Um, I ventured out today for the first time in a while. I picked up my friend Dustin and we drove, I guess it was about 80, 90 miles from here. We drove up to Lake Erie today. We went to Presque State Park, which is in Erie, Pennsylvania. Like I said, probably about 90 miles maybe from here or so, about an hour and a half drive. And it was beautiful. They have this long bike trail that goes about, Presque Isle is a peninsula that goes out into Lake Erie and then circles back almost all the way back to the mainland. And so it forms like a hidden bay, if you will. And it's kind of famous from a naval battle that was fought between America and Britain back in the War of 1812. And it was the only real battle that I'm aware of that was fought on Lake Erie. The British, who were stationed, I guess, across the lake in Canada, had a fleet of ships, and they were patrolling up and down the Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York coastline. Basically, at that time, Lake Erie was kind of an important raw material shipping lane source for materials that could be used in the war. And so there was an American captain of a much smaller fleet of ships, and his name was Oliver Hazard Perry. Perry's famous for a couple of witty sayings, if you will. He had flags, for instance, on his ships that all said, "Don't give up the ship." So you've probably heard that before. But the thing is, he kind of launched, if you will, a sneak attack on the British. The British were patrolling back and forth, and they never realized that Oliver Hazard Perry had hidden his ships in Presque Isle Bay. And from the water side, the peninsula looked like mainland. You would have never guessed that there was a hidden, bay, 6 or 7 miles, in length or whatever it is, and a mile across, hidden from view. And so after the British ships had sailed past, he snuck out with his ships and attacked them, somewhat unaware. And another of his famous lines was, "We have met the enemy, and he is ours." At any rate, Perry won that battle, and that was all she wrote for the British on Lake Erie. The Great Lakes played no other role the rest of that campaign. Well, at any rate, so we went up to Lake Erie today, and one of the things that was really cool that I did not see up there the last time I visited Presque. Presque is really one of these amazing places. I think it's among the most visited state parks in the entire country. Something like, I don't know, more than 4 million people a year visit it. It's, well, you figure the Presque has 6 miles of beaches along that peninsula, all facing, Lake Erie. Lake Erie goes for like 55 miles straight across to Canada, and goes all the way to Buffalo, New York to one end, and Toledo, Ohio, Gary, Indiana to the other end. Windsor, Canada, Detroit, Michigan, at the other end. With these 6 miles of beaches, I think there's, I don't know, I think it was 12 actual beaches back to back to back. And some of them are for swimming with lifeguards. Some of them are for catamarans and kayaks, and there's one beach that's devoted just to kite socks and kites, wind socks and kites. At any rate, Lake Erie is the shallowest of the 5 Great Lakes. And I think it has an average depth of about 62 feet. And the deepest parts of Lake Erie are just over 200 feet. So it's by far the shallowest and just slightly the smallest. Ontario is pretty close in size, but it's a little deeper. And as a result, Lake Erie can get really rough. And it can get rough in the wink of an eye. So it's kind of dangerous to go out there on a small boat. When I say go out there, go out, a couple of miles out there, because the wind can pick up really quickly, and you can have, what they call small craft warnings, almost anytime, just instantly. And so there have been a lot of ships, a lot of boats have gotten into serious trouble out there and capsized. But it is freshwater. It's if you go to visit Presque Isle and you sit on those sand dunes, those big, excuse me, beautiful beaches. Other than the lack of salt in the air and the water, you would never be able to tell the difference between it and, the Atlantic Ocean, for instance. You certainly get the wave action. And they're pretty busy today, considering, the kids have gone back to school now this week. So I was surprised at how busy it was when we were up there this afternoon. But all in all, it was a nice day. Beautiful day for it. They have a bike trail that is something like 7 miles long, and one way. And so I took my mobility scooter up there, and my friend Dustin, he could have rented a bicycle up there, but he chose to walk. And so we walked. I think all together, me and the scooter and him walking, we went about I guess it was just about 3 miles, kind of in a loop. So we walked about 1.5 miles on the bay side and cut across to the beaches and came back along the beaches. And one of the things I noticed that they have now that they didn't have the last time I visited, I used to go there with my mom when she was alive. We'd take her up there, and we even took her up there with her scooter. When I remember the last time I took her up there, her scooter broke down. We got, maybe a half a mile or so from the car, and the scooter conked out. But Um, One of the things they have now that they didn't have back then, and really this is the first time I've noticed it, is like a lot of your nicer beaches on the ocean, on the East Coast, for instance. They now have some handicapped, accessible beach access. They have these like roll-out, I don't know, like rubber mats or whatever that they roll out over the sand that go all the way to the water and into the water. For people that, like me are on scooters or whatever, they can get much, much closer and actually go over the sand now using these. There were bike paths that go up right beside the beach, right beside the dunes, and then they have these rubber mats. There was a couple of other access points built out of cement or whatever with and right up to these like wooden dock-like things that were like lookout points along the beach. So scattered, in between some of the different beaches or whatever were these access points, if you were handicapped. And another thing that I saw that they didn't have before, and people that are in wheelchairs or whatever will recognize the sound of this. They have beach chairs, beach wheelchairs, I guess. With these big balloon tires where you can wheel somebody down literally into the water. So they go over the sand and into the water, which you can't do with a conventional wheelchair, obviously. So we saw, I think, 2 or 3 of them behind one of the lifeguard chairs. I think it was on Beach 8 that we saw that. And like I said, I've never seen those there before. So I told Dustin it's too bad we didn't come up here earlier in the summer. I've been feeling pretty good, all in all. I've been walking a little bit more, a little better, a little further, I should say. I've not had any flare-ups now in several months. I did well enough at my last testing up at the hospital that they told me I didn't have to come up there for 2 months. So I'm scheduled to go back up there again September 30th. So I'm still more than a month away before I have to go back up there. And I think, I was last tested August 2nd, so earlier this month. And like I said, I did well enough, a little better last time than I had done the time before. And I think they were pleasantly surprised to see that I was, actually getting over this. There's a number of cases. In fact, I just heard of another case today of a person like me who's on the lung transplant list, who got taken off the lung transplant list because their condition had, taken a setback. And so I don't know exactly how quickly they're likely to drop that hammer on you. So for instance, I'm going to go up there on the 30th, and I know there's 2 specific tests they're going to run. One will be the breathing, where they're going to look and see, my lung capacity and all of that. They give you a score on that. This last time I had basically about a 16% lung function, 16% of normal. The time before that, it had gone down to 13. And before that, I was up around 18, to 20. And so it went really low because I had had a setback and a flare-up, I call them. And so this last time I went, like I say, August 2nd, was back up to about 16%. And if I had to hazard a guess, I'd guess that I'll probably be about that now. But maybe a little better. I don't know. The other test, of course, is the walking test. And they want you to be able to do 700 feet of walking within 6 minutes. And so far I've been tested 3 times. And I think I did 810 feet, I did 730 feet, and I did, on August 2nd, I don't know whether it was 810 again or 830, I can't remember now which. But at any rate, it was, again, I had improved from the previous time. Now, at rehab, I just recently walked 1,000 feet in 5.5 minutes. So, so I'm starting to see some improvement. The thing is, they will take me off that list if I am not able to hit those metrics. And, once they feel you're not strong enough to go through with this, I think that's it. So, the goal is to try to get this transplant as soon as is possible. And so I'm hoping that that becomes a reality, sooner rather than later. The longer I have to wait, the more likely it is that my condition will worsen before I can benefit from it. So the sooner, I guess, would be the better. And the other thing I'd like to talk about here before I let you go is, there's been so much in the news lately on the politics front. We've got a huge election coming up. We're right in the middle, well past the middle of primary season this year. And there's been a lot of interesting developments. It's mind-boggling, the number of really poor candidates that are running under the Republican banner. And I'm talking about mostly people that have been endorsed by, the former guy, Trump. Some of these candidates are just unbelievable. And it's not just candidates for the Senate or the House, although there's like this J.D. Vance that's running in Ohio, or Dr. Oz that's running in Pennsylvania. You got some real winners there. Of course, it's hard to beat Rick Scott down in Florida for how this guy ever got elected to anything. I can't imagine. This guy was a governor of Florida, and he's been twice elected already to the Senate. How this guy? This guy shouldn't be elected to. Oh my goodness! Cleveland Indians player just got hurt diving into the stadium. They're diving into the stands. Looks like he hurt his lungs or something. So got the game on and I'm kind of watching it here. At any rate, sorry, I got distracted. But there are some really horrible, you would think disqualifying qualities in some of these people. Mastriano running for governor. But a lot of them are running for positions like Secretary of State, where they're going to have some say in how the elections are run in their state. So this is not good. The only halfway good thing about any of it is that they're so bad, it makes it, more likely in some cases that Democrats will get elected in some of these races. But some of them are in such red states that that's a big risk. At best, it's a big risk. So, of course, the other thing going on right now, aside from the election, is this crazy situation going on with all of these papers that have been hoarded for the last year and a half at Mar-a-Lago by Donald Trump. And, it's, my goodness, he made the catch. And then he fell on these chairs. Quan, I love this guy. He's amazing. He made this great catch. And then he got hurt. Well, at any rate, so today they released a redacted version of the affidavit, which now both the affidavit has been released and the warrant itself has been released. And based on everything that's come out, and if any of the reporting is true, then I'll tell you what, Trump should probably be locked up for the rest of his life. For the life of me, I can't think of any reason why these papers, and this is including a list of our spies, who these spies are, and what they're paid. It's been reported that there were nuclear secrets about some of our special access programs. And basically they're talking about, like weapons and methods that are not public knowledge. Things that, it's kind of like, when we had the stealth bomber, we had that technology probably 10 years before the government ever admitted that there was such a thing. So we probably have developed weapons or methods of spying that we've not even acknowledged. And I'm sure that some of our enemies like Russia and some of some other countries like Saudi Arabia or China, there's any number of countries who would pay dearly to have access to some of this information. And it's already come out that Trump has basically had these things, in boxes in rooms where multiple people had access to going in and out of these rooms, and at other times certain of these boxes were taken out and moved to other rooms, and then all known people were coming in and out of those rooms, and among them at least one woman who is alleged to be a Russian spy. So I don't know. All I know is whether Trump did this willingly or unwillingly, the fact that he, as far as giving access to this stuff to other people, frankly, I don't know why he would have some of these. Some of these papers weren't even from his administration. They were things that he must have requested to look at, because they wouldn't have normally crossed his desk. But either way, I can't think of too many reasons why he would want to hoard this, take personal possession of it. Not only was that not legal to do so, but what possible, motive would he have for keeping those if it wasn't to trade or sell them to someone? So at any rate, the fact is they weren't secure. And there seems to be some evidence that other people probably have had access to them. And God only knows, in a year and a half's time, what else they have tucked away, if not, at Mar-a-Lago, at Bedminster, God knows what other Trump property. And, did they make digital copies of these things? I mean, have they, even if they give all of these papers and documents back, have they made other copies that they still have or have already traded or sold? If they don't make an example of Trump on this, Republicans are fond of saying that if we don't close the border, we don't have a country. Well, if we don't prosecute Trump to the fullest extent of the law, we don't have a government. Anyway, that's kind of how I feel about it. I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts. I don't get enough comments. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that's Huck for today. And I really got to do a better job of, getting on here a little bit more frequently and making these videos a little shorter when I do. I also meant to get out the word on, I do have a GoFundMe page now that I still haven't publicized. And I keep saying I'm gonna, I gotta go back and see exactly what it is, because it's not really public right now. But I probably should get that information out. So I promise to try to do that here shortly. Anyway, that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. And if you ever come to this neck of the woods, as they say, you really got to check out Presque State Park in Erie, Pennsylvania. I'll tell you, it is absolutely gorgeous. And there's a number of things about it that I haven't taken the time to discuss, but just for one example, they have a lagoon system, a little network of like waterways or whatever, with little islands and little network of like channels or whatever that eventually work their way out to the bay, right? And it's located in the widest part of the peninsula, and you can rent like little rowboats and kayaks and stuff and wander through there sometime. But when I was in college, when I was going to Kent State University, I had taken a couple of biology courses, and they weren't about human biology. They were about the biology teacher that I had was a botanist who studied plants, and so we studied the biology of plants for 2 semesters, biology 1 and biology 2, and he specialized not only in plants, but he had done his master's degree work, dissertation on his field work at Presque. He worked there as some kind of co-op program previously, and so he did some research, and he found that there were plants found in the ecosystem of that lagoon system in Presque that were so unique they were found nowhere else on Earth, at least to anyone's knowledge, which is amazing. And based on his published work on that, the state park ended up stopping the use of any motorized outboards or whatever through the lagoon system. Now it's all rowboats, canoes, kayaks to help preserve that. Well, anyway, so much for that. If you get a chance to check out Presque, check it out online. Really a cool place to go. I will see you later. Have a great day, everyone.